I know the evening time isn't usually when I'm coming in, but welcome. I'll just wait, give a few minutes for people to join here, get the notifications out. Um, I have not even got a notification of my own show. There it is. There it is. Hello, hello, Yanita. Hello. I bet you cooked a delicious dinner. Lisa, good morning. Pam, Colleen, Reagan, Gabriel, or Gabriel, Anne, Rose, good evening. Cindy, April, Tammy, Michael, good morning. Good evening. Good evening. It's sometime during the day somewhere. Good evening. I'm joining you guys a little bit later tonight, and it'll be a quick one because BCP will be on tonight on the Now with the guys, Will Johnson, Jay, and Doc. So this will be pretty quick tonight, but I just had to chime in on my thoughts. Just letting everybody kind of trickle in here. Good evening, Jeanette. Uh, DTSN. I want to say Dustin, but that might not be it uh, because that is backwards. Anyways, Deanna, Anita, Eddie. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you guys have had a good, what is today? Wednesday so far. All right, and hopefully, I know there's probably some people out there preparing for their Thanksgiving dinners. That should be pretty big tomorrow. Getting some cooking going on. Good evening, y'all. Okay, so today we saw. Are we good with the music? Hopefully, the music is off. Yes, having audio issues yesterday. Um, This show is brought to you by onamericanstreets.com. Onamericanstreets.com. I am Jamie, commonly known as FranklyJamee, across the social media platforms here on the BC Preacher. A lot going on, guys. A lot going on. But onamericanstreets.com, I've started writing over there. And also, if you want to check out the merchandise, Don't Be a Banger, you can find that on onamericanstreets.com. So today we saw the verdict for the Ahmad Aubrey trial case come out. Man, I sure am. I wish I could have watched that trial and that it wasn't going on at the same time that the Rittenhouse trial was going on. I find that very odd, very interesting that both of those trials happen to be going on at the same exact time. But before I even say anything, I'm just going to preface this with the fact that I did not watch the trial. So I do not know all of the facts. All I know is the things that I've seen in the video, and I would be a hypocrite if I was to say that some of the things that I'm saying aren't necessarily correct, right? This is my opinion piece on this and the verdict, and in correlation with the responses from some of our favorite talking heads. And so that's that. So here we are. We've got Ahmad Aubrey, individual who was in a neighborhood, went into a house that was still being built. It wasn't completely finished, or it was being renovated, one of the two. He comes out, and some neighbors decide to go after him, thinking that he is stealing from them, or they have had something sold from them before and they weren't sure if this is the guy. So they go after him, and while he is jogging, and Ahmad Aubrey tries to fight them because they have guns pointed at him, and they end up shooting him dead there. But it doesn't end there, from what I understand. A couple of months go by before there are even any charges that for this to even be addressed. From what I understand, the video was actually released by the people who took his life. And that's about all I know regarding this case, because I didn't stay up to date on it. Okay, so without knowing the facts, right? Same way I did in Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Before I even knew the facts, I saw some of the video, right? And from the get go, I was like, wow, that kid acted in self defense. Watched the case, watched the trial, and all the evidence pointed to the same thing. He acted in self defense. He ended up getting off, acquitted of all charges. In the Ahmad Aubrey case, I saw the video. My first thoughts are, why are those people chasing him down with a gun? And then they shoot him. They're guilty. They should not have done that. So here's my thing. I think that there are definitely some differing opinions on that. But here's my thing. If I was to see somebody in my neighborhood going through things, or in somebody's house, or somebody I thought had stolen from me, I would not hesitate to jump in my car and follow them. I wouldn't hesitate to do that. However, I would not jump in my car with some friends and chase them down with a loaded gun. I guess common sense would say, okay, get in my car, get on the phone with the police, and just follow them and direct the police to where they are and let them handle the situation. I don't think that I would actively if they weren't, actively putting me in danger. It didn't ever make sense from the get-go for these guys to chase him down with a loaded gun and shoot him, because I don't think that it was also out of the norm for Ahmad Aubrey to fight them for the gun because they had the gun pointed at him for whatever reason. Ahmad Aubrey may not have known. But on another case, on the flip side of that coin, we see Joseph Rosenbaum was shot and killed. He was also a child rapist. And I don't see anything wrong with the death penalty for child rapists. They don't get a long enough sentence as it is on a regular basis. Child rapists and molesters and pedophiles don't get enough time behind bars. They don't get death penalty enough. They don't get they don't become eunuchs often enough, in my opinion. However, I don't believe that stealing something from a house deserves the death penalty. So, I mean, we've got to use some logic here. The death penalty, I don't think, was necessary for Ahmad Aubrey in that case. For Joseph Rosenbaum, I'm not thinking that was a bad deal for him. Like, if it was possible, I think that we should actively and regularly make eunuchs of the pedophiles in this world. That's just my opinion, So that's where I'm at on that. I think that the jury came to a correct verdict. However, I don't fully understand why the third man was in there and why he was charged with felony murder. But of course, like I said in the beginning, I didn't watch the trial, so I don't know what part he played. I did watch the verdict. I did watch the reading of the verdict, where the guy who actually shot him was guilty on all 9 charges. His dad was guilty of 8, and then the third party was guilty of 7. I also don't understand why there was 4 felony murder charges. So there's a lot that I don't know about this case at all. Really, I wanted to come on and kind of give my overview of what I thought should happen, and then it did kind of happen that way. But what I really wanted to bring in is the reaction from some of our favorite Black talking heads, which just completely blows my mind as usual. They are pretty despicable human beings. So I don't know if you guys have ever been to the actual Black Lives Matter website. This was a website of a lot of controversy for a long time because it was created by 3 women, but I guess they're all lesbians. And on their site, they had written to some effect that they wanted to basically demolish the traditional family, like the patriarchy and the one man, one woman family. But Black culture is a traditional family. That is the traditional family. That's part of Black culture, is the traditional family. It is the traditional family that got my ancestors through the worst of times, right? Their unity kept them going. Their faith kept them going. And they always had something to, work for, to live for, right? It was that family unit. And so there was a lot of controversy behind their website saying that, and it is gone now. They no longer have that on there, I don't believe. I read a little bit of it today. I didn't see that there anymore. However, they did put out a statement for the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and that's what made me want to come on here to begin with. So, their statement about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial came out on the 19th. They said, "We are not shocked. Today's not guilty verdict is expected when white supremacy lives and breathes within our institutions," right? It is a reminder of how our legal systems are deeply rooted in white supremacy. This is very important, so just listen closely. It was a setup from the beginning. The police, the judge, the court, the mainstream media, and every single system involved all wrapped their arms around Kyle Rittenhouse from the very beginning. Here's the best part. From even before the murders he committed. So they're essentially saying, as a young white boy, because he's so white privileged with his single mom struggling to raise him and his sisters and, barely making ends meet, he's got all this privilege that all of those systems, all of those institutions or whatever wrap their arms around him just because he's a little white boy. Okay? That's essentially what they're saying. Before he even did anything wrong. What this verdict reminds us of is that this is a nation deeply rooted and still very committed to white supremacy, and we must continue to fight against it. What sparked this movement over 8 years ago in the acquittal of George Zimmerman, who, by the way, was not a white man, is the same vigilante, state-sanctioned violence that we saw in Kenosha. Let this be a reminder that the system is working exactly the way it was intended to. We have much work ahead of us. We cannot continue to accept the system that protects white supremacy. So this was November 19th, 2021. Funny enough, they said they have much work ahead of them. And funny enough, all of their work really came to a peak the very same day that Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted. There was another man acquitted of murder charges, Andrew Coffey IV. So all of their work seemed to have come full circle just that day. Although we didn't hear anything about that because that doesn't support the narrative. And then, funny enough, just 5 days later, that same system that was created to wrap their arms around all these white people, the same system, the police, the judge, the court, the mainstream media, the randomly selected jury of peers, just 5 days later, they convicted 3 men of murder. I'm blown away. Just that quick. All of their hard work has come full circle in a system that is created in white supremacy. I mean, we see it working, right? This is just crazy. This is just bizarre how this could even happen after such a thing written just 5 days ago, right? So it really blew me away that the same system that worked on November 19th and acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse is the same system that worked in the Ahmad Aubrey trial, and yet that system should not have convicted those 3 men of murder because they killed a black man. Not that race should matter across the board, because it doesn't. We all know there's issues with our justice system. This is not a secret. The problem is it's a class system. It's not a race system. Lots of rich people get off scot-free, regardless of their skin color. O.J. Simpson. And how people would even compare Kyle Rittenhouse to O.J. Simpson is literally beyond me. We have a grown man who was jealous. He was a jealous freak who literally murdered his own baby's mom and her boyfriend in cold blood, murdered them, and still got off scot-free because he has money. So again, it brings it back to the fact that this is a class system. It is not a race-based system. This is a class system. If you've got money, you can get off with anything. In fact, there's one commercial that I hear very often on the radio when I do listen. I don't listen very often, but anymore. But there's this one commercial that always grinds my nerves. It literally drives me bonkers. And it's this ad that is promoting, hey, have you received a DUI? Well, call so-and-so at law firm and we will help you take care of that. And I'm thinking, excuse me. They were driving while intoxicated and could have killed any number of people. And they should pay the consequences for those. We don't need you lawyers out there getting them off. No, but if you have money and you can go pay for those lawyers, they'll get you off. It doesn't matter what color of skin you have. So it's absolutely ridiculous that they would write such a thing. And just 5 days later, the same thing that they say can't happen, won't happen, happens. And that's how delusional these people are. So then I see on Twitter the famed and very much disgusting Joy Reid and all of her nastiness. We saw MSNBC get banned from the courthouse last week, which I thought was spectacular. I think we all could agree on that. She says, she retweets this thing today. After the verdict is read, okay? After the verdict is read, she retweets this thing from Naveed Jamali. I don't know who he is, but I think he works at MSNBC, and he has pronouns in his thing, so whatever. That always tells us a lot. So he posts this video of the officer's first interaction with Travis McMichael after the incident. And this was a couple months later, because there was quite some time that went through between when it actually happened and later on, I believe. Or no. It was the day of. Anyways, this is how the exchange happened between Travis McMichael and the officer. And I'm not going to play it, but these are some of the things that she said. The officer said these things, quote, she said, take a breath. Don't get blood all over yourself. Do what you need to do. I can only imagine, because he's trying to explain what happened. She said, yeah, got anyone you want us to call for you? I can only imagine, like I said. So this is apparently the interaction that the police officer had with Travis McMichael the day that Ahmad Aubrey was killed, right? So instead of celebrating the justice that was served both in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, the Andrew Coffey trial, the Ahmad Aubrey trial, instead of just celebrating the justice that took place, she wants us to never forget how McMichael, who's now going to serve, literally he's going to die in prison. We don't want to remember that justice was served. Joy Reid wants us to remember how the officer treated McMichael the day that she interacted with him, on the day that this all took place. So this is what happens with these BLM people and these black talking heads, right? Once something happens that goes against their narrative, they have to move the goalpost. It has to move. And this is what I was talking about the other day when you talk about lies. Lies will always change. The fake will always be a different kind of fake, right? The fake doesn't stay the same like the truth does. The truth doesn't move. The truth is the same today, tomorrow, and forever, right? The truth is always remains true. The lie is ever changing. The narrative is ever changing. The fake is ever changing. And that's exactly what BLM and these black talking heads are. They are ever changing nonsense. The goalpost always has to move. So like I said, just 5 days ago on November 19th, BLM posted to their site that this system was made to wrap their arms around little white boys and basically coddle them throughout their entire lives, and they would get off no matter what they did. But then just 5 days later, justice takes place again, and Joy Reid wants us not to remember the justice, because that doesn't go along with the narrative. She wants us to remember how the officer interacted with McMichael the day that it happened, because that's really what matters. Because they have to find some some way to squeeze white supremacy literally into everything. And mind you, Joy Reid is a major pusher of CRT. She literally wants every single person in this country to base every single thing on race. And as a mother of 5 black boys who will soon be black men, the last thing that I ever want them to deal with or to believe or to embrace is the idea that they are walking through their entire lives with a target on their back that they can never escape, they can never overcome, that they will never reach their full potential, the opportunities will never come to them, all because of the color of their skin. Never. As a parent, you should never set your child up for absolute failure in such a way. And number 2, I would never want every white child in America to believe that they are racist no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter how they act. They are going to be racist until they die. That is absolutely absurd. It is absurd. These people are literally delusional crazies. And I'm not exactly sure what level of brain dead this is. Like there's brain dead, there's stupid, there's dumb, there's brain dead. I feel like they are like even a level above that. For them to be sitting in the position that they are sitting and try and tell everybody down here, like I said, it's a class system, all of us little peasants, that it's the fault of white supremacy is the fault for everything. I just can't even. I just can't even. And furthermore, if we really wanted to go through this, let's just look at some of the headlines regarding Kyle. Kyle Rittenhouse has walked free. Now it's open season on protesters because they can't even see the difference between self-defense and cold-blooded murder. They can't even see the difference. That's how delusional they are. What else did they have to say? Hundreds call for justice in Chicago. Justice was served. Justice was served. We have an individual who acted in self-defense and he was acquitted. Justice was served. We have 3 individuals who literally chased somebody down and shot them after they tried to fight them off, and justice was served. We have another individual who was sleeping in his house, heard shots fired back on officers, come to find out. They killed his girlfriend. He was acquitted. Now, what they want us to do is they want us to basically just let black people get away with whatever they want to do. If they want to do it, we just let them get away with it. Why? Because they're black. Why? Because they're black. That doesn't make any sense. That is absolutely the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And I can tell you right now that the black population, my ancestors, went through, well, half of my ancestors. I'm half black, half white. So half of my ancestors went through hell when they came to this country. Being ripped away from their families, shipped over here on boats, a lot of them not even surviving. They get here, they're forced into slavery, bought and sold, all of these things, families ripped apart. They went through hell, right? And I can guarantee you, these BLM type people, what they want to see happen, nothing will ever be enough. What they want to see happen is they want to do to white people what the people of old did to my ancestors. That's what they want to see happen. That's really what they want. That will be the only satisfaction for them. And even still, once that happens, it won't be enough. Why? Because evil begets evil, begets evil, begets evil, begets evil. It will never stop. It will never stop. And that's why people who act like this, think like this, say these types of things, they are, I talk about mental slavery, and it's really what it is. It is a mental slavery, and that is what the devil does. He enslaves your mind. All you can do is think about vengeance and hatred and revenge and evil acts. You want to see the other person have bad things bestowed on them, right? That's what evil people do. That's what the wickedness does. But God does not work like that. God is victory. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. Now, I do believe that there are a lot of people here on earth who are going to have a rude awakening when they get to judgment, and they're going to be held accountable, right? So I do believe in capital punishment, but I also believe that there's going to be a lot of people who are held accountable for wrongful deaths, even in capital punishment. But here's the thing. I am free. I am a free person. I am a free woman, right, in Christ. I have salvation. I am free indeed, right? I am a truth seeker. I read the Bible. I know God's word, and I am free, okay? That doesn't mean that people have not wronged me, okay? And it doesn't mean that they will serve, justice will be served here on earth. But where it will most certainly be served is once they reach the judgment seat, right? They will come under a very heavy judgment before the Lord, and justice will be served because vengeance belongs to the Lord. And so that's one of the things that we have to remember. And I really wish that more of the black population would embrace, because the faith, and I've said this many times, and there may be people who disagree with me, but I truly believe this. Our ancestors, both black and white, the black people who were brought to this country involuntarily and then forced into slavery by the white population at the time, I do believe that the black population acted out faith even stronger and with more intensity than the white population actually did. So they would cherry pick scriptures in order to keep them enslaved and make them think that this is the way it was supposed to be. Although slavery wasn't illegal according to the Bible, but what I believe is that it was that faith, right? And I'm thankful that my ancestors received that faith, because people in Africa still are serving false gods and voodoo and all of this other stuff. And I would rather my ancestors have gone through what they went through for me to be here than to be in Africa, some other country, serving a false god. Like, I want the one true God. And God brings beauty from ashes, and he doesn't let anything go to waste. Now, he lets things happen, but he doesn't waste anything. So if something bad happens, he brings something good out of it, right? So he doesn't waste anything. And so I harbor no resentment. I do not look out into the world and see white people as evil, racist individuals. Their ancestors may have been, right? But that doesn't mean that my ancestors were perfect either, just because they were slaves. That's not how that works, right? So there's evil people in every race all over the world. They're always going to be there. That's just part of our fallen world. But so what we need to remember is that resentment and bitterness and hate and jealousy and this revenge state of mind is unhealthy for the body. It's unhealthy to move forward in forgiveness and freedom. That can never happen. The one thing that they did get right in that Black Lives Matter statement is that the mainstream media is a disease. It's a virus, and it is killing people. It is absolutely killing people. And we need to stop depending so much on that for our news source for what's going on, right? I mean, obviously BCP is a live streamer. I'm a big proponent for supporting the streamers that are out there. We saw Drew Hernandez. He was a really big part of this case in testifying for the defense. We saw Kriston Harris. We saw Corey Elijah. You know, even though he's was probably part of the rioters or like on that side or whatnot, still his footage was able to be used. It helped the defense. You know, having eyes out there is always a really good thing. And we have to move away from the mainstream media even more and more and focus more on these people who are out there on the streets showing us what's really happening, right? And I posted a short clip of a video from Portland, Oregon, the night that the verdict came in, or the next night. It was that weekend, of KATU news team down there. It's one of our local news stations. And they were down there and they were being harassed by Antifa. And I can't say I'm mad about that. This is the same local news station that refused to cover my story when we were viciously attacked by Antifa, even worse than them. I had a baby who had a bomb thrown at her and almost exploded in her face if it wasn't for Julie, who basically saved my child. But she took on the explosive on her arm and had injury from that. My kids were drenched in pepper gas and all of this stuff. So all of this stuff happened, and KATU refused to run the story because they are so obsessed with the PBs. It's just like stupid. It's so stupid, right? And so here they are downtown getting harassed and attacked by Antifa, and I'm wondering to myself, do you think that how does that idea feel? Like, does that idea feel real to you, or does that idea just, you know, like a figment of your imagination, you know? So vengeance will come. Vengeance belongs to the Lord, and beauty comes from ashes. And sure, our country went through some pretty bad things early on, right? But we're so far removed from that. We're in this place now where you can get a fair jury who is willing to look at the facts, even in the face of intimidation, you know? Even in the face of mainstream media and people convicting these folks before they even get a trial, right? Our Constitution says that you are innocent until proven guilty. So even in the face of that, we're able to find juries out there. We're able to find people out there who are willing to put that aside and be constitutionalists and look at the evidence, right? And decide from there. So the system there are some things that are broken with the system. Like I've said in a couple of my last shows, it's so backed up. It's so clogged up. The system is so clogged up right now. I got a speeding ticket that I don't deserve back in the end of 2019, and my trial isn't until April 2022. So our system is so backed up. These lawyers and all of these judges and everything, during the whole entire Kyle Rittenhouse trial, Judge Schroeder was still doing other hearings during that whole trial that was going on. So our system is so backed up. It definitely needs some reform. It's not perfect, right? But we are a fallen world. Nothing will ever be perfect. Not one thing. Not one thing will ever be perfect for everybody. It's not going to. Not while we're here. And that's why it's so important to seek the truth. Today is the day of salvation, right? So today is the best day to choose Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Because at the end of the day, he is the justice. He is the peace. And all of this BLM craziness, what they said in that thing that I read, it's lunacy. And not only is it lunacy, but just the day of and 5 days later, everything they said was completely blown out of the water. And so that's why Joy Reid had to take us on a different trip to show us a different idea of what white supremacy could be, right? Because their narrative is constantly, their goalpost is constantly moving. And so that's kind of my overview. That's all I'll say on the Ahmad Aubrey thing, because like I said, I didn't watch the trial. And so I don't really have a whole lot to, I only have an opinion from what I know, and I would be a hypocrite if, I did any different. So, are you covering the Maxwell case coming up? So I learned that the Ghislaine Maxwell case is federal, and they don't televise federal cases. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I learned that from somebody. I did not actually confirm that. So, but that's what I heard. Since it's a federal case, it won't be televised. CRT is absolutely racist, and I hope that it burns in hell. I added that on, but thank you, Anita. I do hope it burns in hell. There is no way on God's green earth that I want my 5 boys walking through life with their head hung down, thinking that they cannot do because of the color of their skin. No, they are going to look at themselves in the mirror, and they are going to love themselves. They are going to be confident in themselves. They are going to be confident in their abilities. They're going to have faith in the Lord and know that they can overcome anything and everything, because Jesus is victory, and they have victory, period. And no amount of BLM is going to tell my boys that they can't, period. And that's that. So that's that. Democrats like keeping blacks on the plantation. Yeah, Democrats like having people that they can lead around, and it's not just blacks at this point anymore. It's all of the illegal aliens that keep coming over the border. So what they're going to do, and Yanita can testify to this, because I actually asked. I didn't understand the whole Latinx thing, but they're trying to strip Latin culture. So you come into the United States, they're going to strip your culture. They're trying to call them Latinx. Now, anybody who knows anything about Spanish, which I don't know a whole lot about Spanish. I wish I had learned at some point, but I feel like I'm too old for that now. I can't remember. So one thing I do know about their language is feminine and masculine. Like, that's what their whole language is built on, a masculine and a feminine dominant. So how are you going to now call them Latinx instead of Latino or Latina? You're literally stripping their culture right out of their language. That's what Democrats do. They will strip your culture, just like they did with the black culture. That's why the black culture, they struggle to find something now. Their culture is athleticism and entertainment. And like I've said before, a lot of inner city kids don't understand what true success looks like, because the culture has been stripped, the family unit's been demolished, and all they think of success is, well, I either have to become a professional basketball player, or I've got to become a singer in some type of boy band or something. And when that doesn't happen, well, I'll never be successful then. And that's the end of it. And I'm not capable of doing anything else because I got a target on my back that I can't get rid of. Baloney, folks. I don't know what kind of buffoonery this is, but you're not catching my family up in it. Absolutely not. Thank the Lord. We have BCP. He's a good leader for us. He doesn't let us fall into that garbage. And we're not going to let our boys and our girls fall into that garbage either. And, we do have daughters, but I talk a lot about our boys because they are the men. And I am super pro man. I am super pro daddy. And destroying the patriarchy is not going to help anything. Kids that don't have fathers, both males and females, don't do as well. And so that's just all there is to it. That's how I feel, and I'm not changing my mind. Okay. I'm just trying to look through some of the comments here, guys. I'm going to have to finish up. I'm going to be wrapping up here pretty quick because love you guys all. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be wrapping up here pretty quick because BCP is going to be getting on with the guys for the Now tonight. It is Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. Be there or miss out. Antifa Media's militant global wing. Yeah, they are a wing. They're just destructive and horrible. Those three guys were guilty. I don't think they should have all gotten the same charges. Yeah, I don't understand the charges. So I'll have to look more into that, Frederick. I agree with that. I just don't know exactly why I agree with it yet because I haven't looked into it. But yes, not perfect, but I have so much to be thankful for. Oh, and yes, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. The Family Soup TV. I'm not sure what that is. I was surprised the non-family got the harsh charges. Let's see. Good to see you. You're so amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa Marie. You are sweet. You guys are so nice to me. Don't expect. They didn't find justice when Alan Sweeney was on the trial for defending himself and other patriots backing the blue at the Justice Center. Alan Sweeney was an example. They made an example of him. He should not have been arrested and held in jail for a year and still without sentencing. Absolutely ridiculous. He shouldn't have been found guilty either. That is a bunch of... I'm so irritated with that. So irritated with that. So I completely agree, Julie. CRT, in its essence, lacks forgiveness and is about revenge. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's about setting our children up for failure. We're setting our children, both black and white, up for failure. It's failure. It's breaking their spirits. It's telling them that they are wrong and they are bad, no matter what they do, right? So the white kids are wrong and bad because no matter what they do, they'll never not be racist. The black kids are wrong and bad because no matter what they do, they will never not be black. So you just got two groups of kids that are just broken. They're just broken. And these crazy adults, it used to be where adults were trustworthy. It used to be where we trusted the adults in our lives to be the sane individuals, to direct us and guide us in the right path, right? And now all of a sudden we have these crazy nutsos who think there's 36 genders and men give birth and have menstrual cycles and they're destroying our children. They're literally destroying our children. It's buffoonery. My 6-year-old just heard Jamie say there is victory in Jesus, and he started to sing victory in Jesus. There is victory in Jesus. Yes, we shall overcome. He is victory. He is peace. He is the answer. If you have not chosen Jesus, today is the day of salvation. I suggest you do, because the way things are going right now, he is coming back. And I'll tell you what, the rainbow may be a promise that he won't flood the earth with water again, but when he comes back, he's about to burn this place up. So I suggest you get right with the Lord today. This gender nonsense is creeping into South America too. Oh, really? Is it? It's a virus. It's a virus. It is a virus worse than the one that we were currently dealing with. Although it is a pretty nasty virus if you do get the worst of it. But how do we get to the now? You can find Super Modifies. You can find the show on the BC Preacher channel. Will Johnson runs it. Jay McCanney, I think I'm saying his name wrong, and Doc's channel. I'm not really sure, but you can find it on the BC Preacher channel. Yes, let's do a live together. Yeah, I should start bringing people on and doing lives together. I would love to do a Bible study, but I don't want to teach people the Bible. That's just not something I'm comfortable with. So I'm not really sure what a Bible study would look like. Yes, the guys are going to be interviewing Vaughn. Oh, what a character that guy is. I wish I could interview him, but yeah, anyways. Okay, guys, there are a few, Save the Kids school system, I thought, never judge a book by its cover. Yeah, it should have been never, pull your kids out and homeschool them. I'll tell you what. The school system has been a declining system ever since it was created, because you had, it used to be that the families were all at home. The man was at home. They worked the fields. The woman created things, made things. The kids were there. She homeschooled them. That was our original system, right? And then we pulled our men out to go to war and to go working outside the home. Then we sent the kids off to school. Then the women went to work, and then nobody was in the home. Now the homes are empty. Now we're spending $800,000 a year for a home we're not even in. You're out working, you're at school being indoctrinated, and our home is empty. Something needs to change. We need to go back to the basics. We definitely need to go back to the basics. Yes, my phone is getting around. Yeah, I didn't realize he had 37,000 people following his Facebook page before he deleted it. I wonder why that happened. A women's devotional, yes. I wouldn't mind doing a women's study. Absolutely. Will and Quincy, Jay and Doc will be on at 7 o'clock. So I am going to go ahead and get off here so they have time, or so Quincy has time to kind of get ready and prepare. Um, Shout out to everybody who joined me tonight. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me for a little while. I know this was kind of a surprise, a surprise attack on you, but I just want to give my thoughts on that particular subject, and I probably won't be talking about that again because I don't know enough. But I hope you guys all have amazing Thanksgivings. Eat lots, rest lots, and I'm not sure what it will look like for Friday. I won't be on tomorrow. I'm not sure what it will look like for Friday, but thank you so much for joining me. This show is brought to you by onamericanstreets.com. I started writing some articles on there. They're not super amazing, but they may be some information. I am going to talk about a couple of the ones that are coming up because I think they're super important, and it's something that I hold dear to me. So anyways, happy Thanksgiving, guys, and love you all. Thank you so much, and be tuned in less than 25 minutes. The Now will be live on the BC Preacher, and I will on Facebook, and I will see you then. I won't see you then. BCP will see you then. I'm still trying to work all this out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. One step at a time, right? One step at a time. Bye.